Hi guys, and welcome to week 6. So we're nearly 3/4 of the way through it. So how are you all finding it? I hope it is going well for you all and that you're sort of getting a sort of decent way, understanding yourself a lot more and able to sort of mindfully assess the situation, observe yourself and understand, and sort of when you have feelings of discomfort, whether it's sort of emotionally or obviously physical pain, you've sort of learned a way to sort of observe it and deal with it. So today's topic is all about thoughts and how that's exactly what they are. They're just thoughts. Thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are just thoughts. I get it. Some thoughts are facts. Like, for example, you could think to yourself that you are doing a mindfulness course. That's a fact. But a lot of thoughts, for example, when you think that you're useless, you're not going to waste of space. And that's generally the more negative sort of thoughts people have. Those are sort of thoughts which are not real. They are just thoughts which need to be dealt with. So, but these are just, they're simple little things that absolutely everybody has thousands upon thousands of every single day. And you have the ability to make or break, or they have the ability to make or break absolutely any moment, minute, hour, day, week, month, or even a year. So if you think of people with depression, people who are sort of chronically at loggerheads for themselves, that's all to do with thoughts and what they think of themselves. And it's just so simple, but I mean, it's such a simple excuse, but it's something which can ravage people to obviously the point of people taking their own lives, which is so sad, but it's just very understandable of why these things happen. So similar to last week's main meditation, but focusing on our body and noticing certain bodily feelings and sensations that arise when we confront a difficult emotional experience, difficult or emotional experience, and emotional even. Today we will be focusing on thoughts and how to manage them. So just sit yourself down or lie down in the most comfortable position as possible. And as you relax into whichever, sorry, as you relax into whichever position you've chosen, just slowly close your eyes and take your first breath in through your nose. And then as you breathe out again, just feel yourself sinking deeper into whichever surface or whatever chair or sofa you're resting on. Just get into whatever posture you think you need. And if you happen to be really tired and you fall asleep in this task, in this meditation, just do not let it worry you, because your body does what's right for you. So if you're going to fall asleep in it, that's fine. Just listen to it again later. But if you do, that's kind of the right meditation for you. And just see how you feel. So in order just to get ourselves into this, just keeping your eyes closed, just maybe just gently massage your head or the back of your neck or the top of your hair. Just slowly but surely, just rub it, just to get a sense of feeling within your head. Just move down to the sides of your face, your jaw. Just rub that, maybe ease the tension as you go down. Just go all the way around both your cheeks, just rubbing slowly. And then moving down the neck, over to your left shoulder. Just massage it. Just slowly rubbing it. And then move to your right shoulder. Again, just massage and just gently, but slowly, just give it the feeling of knowing that it's got a good job for you. And from your shoulders, just work your way, just feeling the top of your arms and your biceps. Just with each hand, Just feel either one. You get to your elbows and then down towards your hands. Just wiggle all your fingers. Just know that you're as present as possible. Then moving to the front of your body, just lightly touch your chest. And then move down to your belly area and just notice the sensations as you do this. Now move down to the top of your legs, just slowly massaging them as you work your way past your knees and then your feet, and then just wiggling your toes. Just feel your whole body as one now. Just noticing just how present you are. Before we begin this practice, just remind yourselves that you are so present in this moment, right here, right now. And just allow the gentleness and peace just to slowly envelop you with a warm, kindly attitude. Now just visualize yourself holding two heavy bags. The one in your left hand represents the past, and the one in your right hand represents the future. You can feel the weight of them just pulling you down. Now, if it's right for you, I want you to slowly place the bags down on the floor and just allow them to rest where they land without any barriers or blocks from holding onto them. Just feeling that weight dropping away from your being. Because this is a time for you, time to just let go of the past and the future for the time being. Just feeling that weight just drop away. You're in the present moment now. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Just think of your breath as you take next breath in through your nose. Then as out through your nose. And as you are experiencing everything in the present moment, probably the most vivid experience for you right now is your bodily sensations. Be that the warmth of your body, whether it's cooler or hotter, or the weight of your body. You feel it pulling down on whatever surface you're on. And as you do that, just notice how it feels. And how do you feel? And as you start to notice and cultivate this kindly awareness, just begin to notice what effect it has on you. If you notice a tension in your shoulders, for example, or in your legs, on your hands, just wherever you notice a feeling of discomfort, and you begin to notice just what effect does the awareness have on it. Just notice any uncomfort, any pain, and just see how this acknowledgement of noticing it helps you to understand it better. And once you notice the connection between you and sensation, See if you can sense some kindness or compassion down that channel. Just a sense of allowing and acceptance. Like we dealt with last week. Just a present moment experience. Just see if you can have the attitude of the sensations coming to you in an effortless way. Just releasing all senses of effort and just allowing gentleness to be the approach. And as your body starts to become a bit still, and as your mindfulness begins to grow, just notice if there is anything you need to do to adjust your posture. Because now you have the awareness available. Just go ahead and adjust your posture so that you're in as comfortable position as possible. Because this time is entirely for you. You're doing this for you. Once you've moved your body again, just allow your body to settle down again. Tuning in to the sensation of your whole body, just as one. If your mind is very active, you've got thoughts buzzing up and down, faster forward and back, and thinking about the future, thinking about the past, but just allow it to be right now. If it wants to wander off, just allow it. Just treat it with kindness and compassion. And as you are watching it, just notice where it goes. Just acknowledge what it's doing, observe why it's running off. Give it time and space where it is. And then when it's ready, just reel it back in. But slowly, don't force it. Rather than just being controlling, you're doing the opposite, just letting it go. And as you become still, and as your body gently rises and falls with every breath, just invite the attention to naturally come to you. And just see if perhaps you can enjoy the sensation of breathing. Each breath in, each breath out. So each breath is nourishing. And each out breath, just feel like you're letting go. Anything that's keeping you, holding you back. If you find your mind is very active, maybe recite the word relaxing as you breathe in, and then happy as you breathe out. Relaxing, and I'm happy, just content. Relaxing, just happy. It doesn't matter how this is going for you if you're having a difficult time. Just allow everything to be as it is. Now, just notice the sounds around you, of my voice, of your breathing. Maybe you can hear cars outside, or an aeroplane? What are the sounds arising for you in your conscious awareness? Just maybe smile at the sounds to welcome them to your awareness. And then just smile and be happy that you had the ability to hear and cultivate a feeling of gratefulness and warmth within yourself, knowing how fortunate and lucky you are to have all your senses. And if you find your mind is very busy or active, just turn your attention to it. Turn your attention to the activity which keeps buzzing around in your head. And just let go of the fight, trying to hasten it, trying to put it down. Just let go of the fight in this present moment experience and just let things be. Now, just like we've been listening to the sounds, gently turn your attention inwards and see if you can listen to and observe your thoughts, just like sounds. If that is hard, just pretend that your thoughts are just sounds or maybe images, and just watch or listen to them for a while and just observe your experience. If you find your mind wanders even more like this, just try, as we did a little bit earlier, just as you breathe in, relaxing. As you breathe out, happy. And as you're doing this, if no thoughts are coming up, that's absolutely fine. Just listen to the silence. But if there are lots, just bring a sense of playfulness and joy when you're watching them. Just allowing them to be as they are, not trying to change them, not trying to stop them, not trying to resist them. Just allow them to be as they are. As you breathe in, relaxing. As you breathe out, just be happy. Now for the last part of this exercise, just only if it's right for you, just as we did last week, I want you to bring to mind a challenge that you have been experiencing lately. It may be the same one that you brought up last week, or it may be completely different. This time, with the challenge you bring to the table, rather than exploring the bodily sensations, just try observing the thoughts around this challenge. But just watch them with a sense of distance, almost like you're watching a film. Just visualize them, maybe just as images, or maybe even just sounds. And just create a distance. Or maybe take a bird's eye view from further away. Just imagine stepping back all the while as you're observing whatever the difficulty is and whatever chatter is coming into your mind as a result of it. Now just staying in the position you've chosen, having just observed and witnessed whichever difficulty you've brought to mind. Just reflect on some of these following questions I'm about to ask you. Am I confusing a thought with a fact? Am I jumping to conclusions? Am I seeing it in black or white? Is there a grey area in between? Am I trying to predict the future too much? And just reflect on the concept that thoughts are just thoughts. And as you're reflecting, when you bring a challenge to mind in the last few moments of exercise, knowing that thoughts are just thoughts. Now, as we slowly draw this exercise to a close, just if the challenge has brought up some physical sensations, like we did last week, just give yourself a soft touch. Give your body softness, just gentleness and love. And maybe place your hand on whichever area may be in discomfort. And just let the heat of your hand just go into that area and just allow some compassion and peace into it. As we slowly reach the end, and now slowly opening your eyes, just notice your state of mind and emotions. Just, if this worked for you, just notice how it worked for you. Know that you can always come back to this recording. You can always do it yourself. Now, with your eyes open, slowly bring this exercise to an end. Just maybe wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, just flex your whole body and just stretch it in a mindful way. Just taking a few moments to note down how you are feeling right now. So, how was this exercise compared to last week's one on bodily sensations, on thoughts? So if you see what I've done here, thoughts, what are your thoughts on thoughts? So I'm getting thoughts on thoughts. I always thought that was quite a nice little thing. Now, I don't think we have, Nikolai is not here, like he mentioned he was. So would it be possible to get your opinion, Phil, with the chat? So it's very different that thoughts are your problem. Sorry, I've got something in my throat, which is really annoying. So would you say that thoughts effectively can make or break your day? Oh, we've got Nikolai's just come in.
Hi.
Oh, Nikolai, how's it going?
Yeah, it's great. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. So basically we've just done a similar meditation that we did last week, but last week's one was focusing on your bodily sensations and feelings. today's one was basically focusing on thoughts when you bring a difficulty to mind, and then what you're thinking at the same time. But as you weren't really able, how long ago did you log on? Or was it only just now?
Just now.
Okay, so you probably won't be able to get how you got with that. So I might just carry on asking Phil a little more. So basically, Phil says that thoughts are his biggest issue, and that they're holding him back from a lot of things. Did you find this exercise helped you in any way? Would you say, Phil? And did you notice when you brought thoughts to mind, what sort of came to your head, what sort of thoughts were going? And by observing them, did you find that made things a little clearer for you? And knowing that thoughts are, as I said at the very beginning, thoughts are just thoughts. That whatever negativity you bring to mind got you to think about your thoughts. Yeah, well, that's very good. And I'm very pleased it's sort of helping you with this. And next week, we will be doing techniques to help you to manage your thoughts much better. Like today, it's just exploring it and observing the thoughts. Next week, we will be giving you obviously the different ways to manage the overthinking, which is creating a lot of sort of disharmony and holding, like you said, holding you back. Okay, so we have now, yeah, well, I'm glad to be helpful, and I look forward to giving all to you next week. So that's good. So Nikolai, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just muting my mic so you can't hear the noise around me.
Okay, cool. That's great. Right. Now see. Okay, so this next exercise we've got is called the mood, thoughts, and alternative viewpoints exercise. So I'm going to give you two different scenarios, and I want to have your opinions on both of them. And Phil, I will ask you, obviously with typing, if that's all right as well, just because this is a very good example of how thoughts and feelings can make or break your day, like I kept saying. So we've got scenario A. So just imagine the following situation, okay? You're at work and your boss calls you into the office. You get into the office and you're having no idea what he's there for. He looks at you, sort of face a bit down, a bit disgruntled, and he says that he's really disappointed with the work you handed in the other day, and that it was of such a low standard, and that your quality of work is actually diminishing, and that he's actually really worried about obviously keeping you on as an employee of the company, and that your work is just completely not what he was expecting. So he says, obviously finishes what he's saying, and he says, look, just come back next week and we'll chat about it more. But he's not very happy. And as you leave the office, you bump into a colleague walking the other way, and so you decide to confide in this colleague. You go up to them, you share the experience, but the colleague doesn't have the time to talk to you because they're obviously too busy with another job, and they literally say, I have not got time to talk to you. I've got to go. I haven't got the time. Okay, so that's scenario A. Scenario B. So again, you're in the workplace and the boss wants to talk to you. You go into his office and he says that he's actually, this time, he's really, really pleased with the standard of work. Everything is amazing and he really appreciates all the work you do for the company. He says how he really values your place within the company and that he actually can't believe how brilliant your work is. As you step out of the office, little, maybe even skip out of the office because you're so happy, and you bump into a colleague again. You sort of buzz up to the colleague, you're really, really happy, you jump up to him and you tell him exactly what happened. And again, he says, I have not got the time. I'm so busy. I really haven't got the time to talk to you. Can we move on, please? Oh, we have that. Okay, so those are the two scenarios. And I would like to know your thoughts on those scenarios. So if we go for scenario A, Nikolai, just obviously you've just been told your work is pretty diabolical, and then you walk out of the office, you see a colleague. So first of all, what is your experience of obviously being told your work is not very good?
That's not really because in my case I'm hardworking, and sometimes there are issues. In every work there is some issue, but not that great. So my boss to call me in his office and told me, Nari, yeah, this scenario. But if he do so, I will be mostly angry and ambitious to right my wrongs.
Okay.
Can I cross-reference between the scenario A and B?
No, not yet. We're just dealing with A at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Because I wanted to know. Okay, so anyway, you've walked. It's very good that you've obviously got the insight to sort of change your work ethic and sort of change the way you think you're going to do it. But anyway, as you walk out of the office and you bump into this colleague of yours, and your colleague hasn't got the time to talk to you, how does that make you feel?
Personally, it doesn't matter so much for me, because in my life there were a lot of people that it's not just a colleague but close friends and members of family that's happened to me. So the colleague which is far away from me to give me this attitude isn't so much difficult for me to handle it.
Okay, so you have a very strong sense of sort of worth within yourself. So I think that's very positive. And that's a very good thing. And obviously the fact that this other colleague who doesn't really have anything to do with it doesn't really bring you down, which is quite good. I just want to ask Phil what he says. So scenario A, this is Phil said, I'd be really alarmed. I wouldn't stop thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. I would worry for the worst. I would be unhappy and any colleague's reaction with my colleague's reaction, but I would be okay with it and be able to handle it, as my mind would still be preoccupied with what my boss has to tell me the next day. Okay, so interestingly, neither of you seem that worried by the colleague's reaction, which is interesting, because I think a lot of people have found that when they're down, having just been told by the boss that their sort of life work is not as good as it should be, and they're sort of effectively torn into tatters, they go outside, they see this colleague expecting to get a little bit of sympathy from them, and the colleague just literally just says, I haven't got the time. And then normally I would say most people would feel even worse, because they've been told a bad situation, and then their thoughts, so this is obviously about feelings and thoughts, so they feel straight away, they feel really bad, and then their thoughts of this other colleague who hasn't given them a time of day is that they will be thinking, because they're already down, they'll be thinking, well, what have I done wrong? What, maybe my job doesn't like me, my friends don't like me, what's happening? So that's that. Now, with the second scenario, obviously I'll just remind you again, you've just been dumped by the boss, just been told your work is absolutely diabolical. You go outside, you're sort of, it was the opposite. You've just been told your work is amazing and that he's so happy with you. You then go outside, skip outside, and you see this colleague, and the colleague again doesn't have time to talk for you, would your reaction be a little bit differently? Would your thoughts be differently about this colleague when you're in a happy place? So what do you think of that, Nikolai?
So in my experience, because it's happens most of the time, that my boss reward me with this attitude. So for instance, this is I suppose I will confuse you with this one. Scenario B. You're right, Tim?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. Personally, for me, because I'm mostly in scenario B, but I'm pretty pessimistic, and I don't know. I have a low self-worth, if I can say it.
You have a lot of self-worth.
A little.
A
A
little.
little.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can't feel this happiness when the boss awards me with this scenario, right? With the winnings and everything, and congratulate me for my work. So for the second part with the colleague, in my experience, most of my colleagues with which I was working with in the past years, instead of told me they don't have a time, they will stop and ask me what's happened, because when I'm happy, the people thought that the boss will raise the salaries, and they want to know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But this is one of the cases. In the other case, if I brag myself, they will be envious, right?
Yep.
So it's something interesting. When you're happy, the person will stop and listen to you because you're happy. I don't know. This is my experience only.
When you're happy, that sorry, say that again. The person will.
We will stop and listen, because I suppose they think that this matter will be applied for all of them. So something like a raise of salaries and so on.
Yeah. Okay. No, I understand where you're coming from in that respect, but this is just a hypothetical situation, though. I'm not saying obviously he would be happy. It's just I want to know your thoughts of how you would. Obviously, your feelings coming out of the meeting, you're now positive, and your thoughts towards the colleague who is again being negative towards you. But would your thoughts towards him be very different if you've just had very good news from the boss or very bad news from the boss?
No, exactly the same. It doesn't matter for me.
Okay, that's very interesting, because I mean, I would say that majority of people, the way they feel alters their thoughts if someone is being negative towards them or positive towards them. So it's very good. I'll go into that in a little bit. So I'm just going to read out what Phil said. So although I take compliments lightly, I would be very happy with what my boss has told me. I would feel a bit annoyed and disappointed if my colleague does not share my enthusiasm at my performance. The colleague's reaction would be a bit hard for me to take, especially if this colleague is close to me and if we've confided in each other before. Also, I'd be taken aback by the colleague's response, and that would stay in my mind and kind of dull down the happiness at my boss's admiration and adulation. So that is quite a different response to what I certainly have been, I would experience, and what a lot of people experience. So, but thank you very much, Phil, for your honesty in that. So effectively, what a lot of people find, that if they have been given some good news, if they're feeling happy within themselves, and then like in situation A, if someone that is negative towards them, the sort of overriding happiness will generally outweigh the negativity, and so you would still be quite positive. Whereas in obviously back in scenario A, where you had negative news and then you see the friend who's also negative. It's sort of the two of them add together and sort of bring a thing. So if we look at this next slide, which I've done. So basically it talks about how your external events are filtered through your lens. Okay, so there's, on the left-hand side, you see your thoughts about the situation. Then there's your lens. So let's do it in A, for example. So there's you in scenario A. You've just been told that your work is pretty diabolical. You look through your lens. These are thoughts affected by your mood, past experience, illness, and more, obviously. And then obviously the world's situations as it is. And so your mood will be affected through your lens, which is by the thoughts. So the world, the external situations, your lens, and then you. So using thoughts to manage thoughts. Okay. So actually, let's just forget about that one. Using instead of those. So the external events are filtered through your lens. Okay. So using thought to manage thoughts. So this is what we're doing. Okay. So reflecting this way can help to bring a different perspective to thoughts. Whereas, I mean, both of you, I would say, were much more genuine about this individual, this colleague who didn't really like it. You, even in the best moods, after you've been told that your work is amazing, you sort of felt quite sort of a bit of disharmony towards him, a bit of sort of upset towards the way he was treating you. So we're not just trying to fix or change or push away our thoughts. We're always, certainly in mindfulness, trying to change our relationship to it rather than change it itself. So trying to see it in a different way. If it's a pain you're experiencing, for example, maybe you don't like it, but that can change with your perspective. So how am I feeling right now? Now, having gone into how our thoughts can take a negative spin on our daily lives, first of all, I just want to look through the thoughts, using thought to manage what. Okay, so if we look at the slide which I just put up. So when you have negative thoughts, so this is, Phil, you were mentioning how you do have issues with your thoughts. Okay, so I want you to ask these questions to yourself next time you have a negative thought. So whatever your negative thought is, you know, am I ugly, useless, waste of space? Just think, perhaps I am confusing a thought with a fact, which you are. It's a thought that you are an ugly waste of space. Is it a fact? I very much doubt it's a fact. Perhaps I'm jumping to conclusions. I would say you are jumping to conclusions, because I would have thought a lot of people would say the complete opposite to you. Perhaps I'm thinking in black and white terms. Well, perhaps you are. Just remember that, you know, you are, there is so much within all of us. Okay. So when you have these negative thoughts, like someone says, you know, you're a really, really bad driver. I'd say driver, but apparently I'm not a very good driver and people tell me that. Maybe that is black and white. So we'll let that go. Perhaps I'm concentrating on my weaknesses and forgetting my strengths. That is what a lot of people do. They look for the sort of negativity. You know, you when you trying to do something positive to a friend, you always look for the positivity in it and you big it up. When you're looking at yourself, you always look for the negativity and you put it down, and you put yourself down all the time. So just by changing that one little sentence and one scenario, it can help with your thoughts. Perhaps I'm setting unrealistically high standards for myself, so I will fail. Well, that's incredibly true. That's what so many people do. They just set these ridiculous standards for themselves, they set these ridiculous tasks for them. If they don't meet it, they see themselves as a failure straight away. Whereas they're so high, not even their best friend could probably reach the heights to which they're trying to go. So lower your heights, and then when you reach those heights, put them really low, and you keep reaching it, be happy with yourself, and then put it up a little bit more, but stop setting really unrealistically high standards. Or perhaps I'm mind reading, crystal ball gazing, which a lot of people do. They sort of expect that what they're doing is exactly, it's how thoughts basically are like your wishes, and if you don't meet them, then you're going to get sort of down and depressed. For example, perhaps you're mind reading that you are going to make a lot of money and that you're going to meet the girl of your dreams, and that doesn't happen. So when that doesn't happen, does that mean that you're useless? No, it doesn't. It just means you've got to carry on doing stuff and not setting yourself, like setting your sights unrealistically high, is then using it as a crystal ball and just making things up. That's not good. Or perhaps I'm expecting perfection, and that's probably one of the biggest ones. Nobody is perfect. We don't do things right all the time at all. And so if you expect perfection from yourself, your thoughts are obviously going to dwindle and dwindle and just rip you apart. Do not expect perfection. That is not a good way of doing it. Okay, so we have got, sorry, let me just finish here. So having gone into how our thoughts can take a negative spin on our daily lives, next week I'm going to give you the prevention techniques and ways to manage situations when your thoughts have already got the better of you. For now though, in the lead up to next week, I would like to set some appropriate home practice to help you to see how you're thinking and how this can have a negative impact on your day-to-day life. And so if it's all right with you guys, we do the breathing space 3 times a day. Just go back to the first 3 videos, actually first 4, and you'll get breathing space if you can't remember to do it. And then doing the coping breathing space, which was done last week, and just opening up the thought door, which we were doing today, with just basically analyzing, observing, and acknowledging your thoughts and just letting them be as they are. Don't try to change them, but just let them sit and then watch them and just see how you feel as a result of that. And I would say that is the end of today's session. So yeah, it's not been massively long, but how did it go for you? How was it, Nikolai? Did you?
It was great, thank you. And for the next week, I'm so excited because I suppose that's what I need.
Yeah.
Because my emotions takes the better part of me. Yeah. So I should resolve it.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, I look forward to be able to sort of help you with giving you some techniques to sort of help bottle them. So Phil, sorry, I've just seen you wrote another thing. So Phil said that in scenario A, he can handle a rejection, but scenario B, the experience would bother him for a while. It's easier to handle scenario A and the colleague's reaction as the boss's news is hard to take and would stay at the top of his mind. Okay, so that's quite interesting actually, because I think you guys are it's a very mindful way of thinking that, you've got one situation which you've been given, and then another situation which is obviously meant to equal or worsen the initial one. You're actually just seeing it as an equal par, and you're also seeing it as an equal par when you've just been given good news. So I think that's quite a good way of seeing it. And yeah, thanks a lot. It was very helpful. I'm glad you had good, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and so I can give you a bit more tips. So Nikolai, thank you very much for coming. Are you going to be able to come later next week, or?
Yeah. I suppose next time I will be around 15, 6 and a half. Like today, because I have arrangements every Monday at 8 o'clock till 15 to 60 minutes, to 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll see if we might be able to start a little bit later. Would you like to? Phil, would you mind starting at 6:30 next week? So he's still there. He may have left.
Yeah, thank you very much.
He's fine. So we'll start at 6:30 next week. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I will speak to you all next week. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Tim. You too. Thank you.
Bye, Nikolai. Bye, Phil.
Bye-bye.